News with Bill, Episode 2. 78 Cats Make for a Happy Home. Hi, and welcome back to News with Bill, where I tell you about the weird, odd, and bizarre news stories that you won't believe are true, and in a lot of cases, let's be serious, you'll wish they weren't. And boy, do I have some doozies for you today. I mean, we have dead cats, a naked guy, and a rapper with a hatchet. So, before I get started, I have just a couple of housekeeping chores that I want to take care of with you. So, sitting here at the News with Bill World Broadcast Headquarters, first off, an apology. I owe you an apology that it's been so long since the first episode. I kind of made this decision that after I published the first episode, I decided, you know what? Let me redo the whole website. And that kind of started consuming my time. Now, I'm not quite all the way done with that because I did start all over, but it's getting there, and it's to the point now where I can start publishing again. So that was on me. I apologize, and I won't do that again to you. Second, I just want to reconfirm that the social media accounts are set up. So give a follow to @NewsWithBill on both Twitter and Instagram. And I'm going to start trying to post to those regularly. So please keep an eye out for that. And other than that, everything's going great. I'm happy that you all are here to listen. And let's get started. All right, first up today, we have Don't Forget Your Clothes in the Drive-thru. All right, the Oklahoma City Police were called to a local Taco Bell at about 9 in the evening recently to respond to the report of a man going through the drive-thru naked. 61-year-old Christopher Sale was in his car completely naked in the drive-thru. Like Taco Bell wasn't appetizing enough before, right? So he paid for his order and also asked the employees for an extra taco. One of the employees was reportedly not comfortable with this, and I'm wondering if it was him being naked or the fact that he asked for an extra taco. Anyway, another employee gave him the taco, probably just to get rid of him, and then he asked for more sauce, still not leaving the drive-thru. So then Sale asked for napkins and then finally left the drive-thru, but then he just had to come back and ask for more extra sauce, just because. So when police got there and contacted him, he told them that he was kind of hungry and that all of his clothes were in the washer. He also stated that he did know it was against the law to drive naked. And, if he was driving a big truck that had a lift on it or something like that, I don't think this would have been a problem. Now, if he was driving like a Miata with a top down, things would be just a little bit different. All right, next up, got to try these out next time you travel. We have some see-through public toilets in Japan. And we start off by saying, for some reason, I'm not surprised to see that this is happening in Japan of all places. The see-through toilets opened 2 weeks ago in Shibuya, which is a commercial part of Tokyo. And I guess Shibuya is known for its shopping and nightlife. I've never been to Japan, don't know much about it. Anyway, these new johns use a colored smart glass for the walls that turns opaque when they're occupied. Now, I've seen this on some home improvement shows. They have like glass enclosures that I think it's like when an electrical charge is applied to it, they turn opaque or you can't see through them. So makes sense. I've seen that part before. So anyway, the Japanese have decided to use this glass technology so people can identify if the toilet, first off, is clean and also if anyone is currently inside. I do like the idea of seeing if a toilet is clean before heading in, because we've all walked into a public restroom before, and it's been, shall we say, less than pleasant. And I know on several occasions I've just had to turn around and walk out. The crazy thing about this is that the people who are inside using the restroom can't tell if the glass is opaque or not. So it's like a one-way mirror effect. So they can see out, but the people can't see in. So if you think about it, the people that are sitting on the john there, they're getting the feeling that they're just using the toilet out in public, and they can't tell if the people outside can really see them or not. Now, on the plus side, people needing to use the restroom will be able to see if the bathroom is occupied, and if it isn't, like we said, they can see how clean it is, So, there are some benefits to it. There are plans to open more of the transparent toilets across the same neighborhood by next spring. And I just can't help but think, what happens if the glass malfunctions? All right, next we have a woman beat her father over his flatulence. So it should come as no shock to you that this story comes from the Florida files. According to the police report and arrest affidavit, 40-year-old Nicole Dozos shares a bedroom with her 59-year-old father in a house located in the Tampa Bay area. At around 2 o'clock on Sunday morning, Nicole became angry with her father due to his flatulence, and an argument ensued. She then attacked her father and punched him in the face several times. The responding officers noted that dear old dad had a bloodied left eye and scratches all over his neck as a result of the attack. Nicole was arrested for domestic battery and booked into the county jail. She was later released on her own recognizance. At her court appearance, she pleaded not guilty, and the judge ordered her to have no contact with her father. And Nicole is no stranger to trouble either. I know you're going to think this is shocking, but she does have a rap sheet that includes convictions for theft and probation violations. Even better, she was arrested in 2018 for punching her sister in the head inside the family home. Now, I'm not sure which is worse, the fact that she beat up her dad or the fact that she expected a man not to pass gas, which is, by the way, a totally unreasonable expectation if you ask me. Now, this is pretty gross. There was a phone rescued from a national forest toilet. So this happens in Montana, that sanitation workers were cleaning out toilets in the Flathead National Forest, and they said they found a poop-soaked phone at the bottom of the toilet tank. And even better, the phone still worked. So an employee of the sanitation company said that he and his team were cleaning out the tank of the toilet near Holland Lake when he spotted an iPhone 11 Pro at the bottom. Well, heck, that's better than my phone, so I'd be reaching for it too. In any case, the workers were shocked to see the phone in there. They tried to suck it up with their vacuum hose and then had to resort to using some of those grabbers to get it. And I'm picturing they're like the grabbers that the people in the supermarket use. Typically, it's older people or people that can't reach the top. You pull the trigger and the little gripper kind of grips whatever they're reaching for. In any case, they sanitized the phone, plugged it in, and they were shocked to discover that it still worked. Now, they couldn't unlock the phone, so they put the SIM card in another phone and were able to find out some information about the phone's owner. So they did leave a voicemail for the phone's owner, who happened to be a local resident. She was shocked at both the fact that they found the phone and that the phone still worked. In a recent Facebook post, A1 Sanitation said that the poop-soaked phone is on its way home. Because, yeah, I'd use a phone that was submerged in the fecal soup of a park bathroom. No problem. "78 cats removed from a Missouri home." Police in Sedalia, Missouri, said that 78 cats were recovered on Wednesday from a small home on South Prospect Avenue. 37-year-old Ferdinand Bukayan and 59-year-old Teodora Delupines were both arrested on charges of animal abuse and neglect. Authorities said many of the cats were in need of immediate medical care. A number of deceased kittens were found in bags inside the home, and 27 deceased cats were found buried in the backyard. The manager of the Sedalia Animal Control said, and I quote, "The walls were covered in mucus and snot from these cats. I think every single one of them, at the bare minimum, has an upper respiratory infection. Many of them have far more serious conditions to recover from." Authorities were alerted to this by an anonymous tip reporting unhealthy animals at the home. And I guess that's the least they could say, right? Anyway, neighbors said that they were shocked about the discovery and had no idea what was going on inside the home. The surviving cats have been dispersed to shelters all across the region, both in Missouri and Illinois. Now, I'm not sure what's up with old Ferdinand and Theodora, but I think that at the very least, they should be forced to live under the same conditions that they made those cats live under. Now, this is brilliance, pure brilliance. A woman altered a $100 cashier's check to read $8.4 million. So a West Virginia genius has been indicted by a federal grand jury for being involved in an elaborate fraud scheme. According to the U.S. Attorney's Office, 32-year-old Holly Urias has been charged with bank fraud, mail fraud, forging the signature of a judge, and 2 counts of aggravated identity theft. So the indictment alleges that Urias falsely claimed to be expecting a large financial settlement from a lawsuit. The U.S. attorney said she set out to defraud financial institutions and an insurance company. Apparently, Urias altered a $100 cashier's check by changing it to an amount to over $8.4 million. She also provided fake documents with forged signatures and a personal check for $1 million, although she knew she did not have sufficient funds in her account. Needless to say, that check bounced. The U.S. attorney commented, quote, "The allegations contained in this indictment are very serious. I commend the work of the investigators in this case. They were able to unravel the defendant's elaborate fraud scheme. If convicted on all counts, she faces up to 55 years in prison." Now, all right, I'm okay for going big and all, but if I was ever going to doctor a $100 check, and I've never done this, but it would just seem like, wouldn't it make more sense to add like a zero or two, make it $1,000 or $10,000? But changing it to $8.4 million, I mean, just try some smaller steps next time or something. I mean, geez. And once again, this has become kind of a thematic episode with another toilet story, but, toilet blocked by unwelcome visitors. Sophie Pearson from Queensland, Australia, was having issues with her toilet. It just wasn't flushing properly. I hate that. She reported, quote, "I went to the toilet and then went to flush it, and I had to really push down on the button to get it to work. So I was a bit confused. I figured I'd just pull the top off and check what the issue was." So she removed the lid, and as you can imagine, she was more than a little surprised to see 4 snakes coiled around in there, the longest of which was over 3 feet long. Pearson called a friend, and he came over to remove them. He then released them into a nearby cane field. As creepy as that is, it really could have been worse. I'd much rather find snakes in the toilet tank rather than having them come up from the bowl and bite me while I'm sitting down. And on another note, if I'm ever in Australia, just remind me never to use the bathroom. All right, so rapper Cilento. Now, let me take a quick pause for a moment. I just want to make sure that you know that the term rapper in reference to him is in quotation marks. And as a matter of fact, every time I say the word rapper, when I'm referring to him, I'm making finger quotes at the same time as I'm recording this. So in any case, Cilento allegedly walked into a home and threatened the residents. Law enforcement sources reported that he was arrested last weekend after he entered the house while wielding a hatchet as he attempted to find his girlfriend. After he broke into the home, someone apparently screamed for help and others tackled and disarmed him. Cilento's friends then arrived at the house and told him that he was at the wrong house. And they were just leaving as the police were called. So police arrested him, took him into custody, and now he's facing 2 felony counts of assault with a deadly weapon and is being held on a $250,000 bond. So now it later came out that he was also arrested previously for domestic violence in a separate incident stemming from this hatchet assault. So police took him into custody in Santa Ana, California at that time after a report of a domestic violence disturbance, and he was later released, only to go on later and break into someone's house. I mean, It really just sounds like this kid can't decide whether to whip or to nay-nay. Woman kicked out of a bingo hall for not using a mask to cover the breathing hole in her neck. The son of an Ontario woman who breathes through a hole in her neck reports that she was kicked out of her local bingo hall because her breathing hole wasn't covered with the mask. 67-year-old Elaine Arbo doesn't go out much anymore unless it's to play at a casino or play at the bingo hall with her friends. Now, she was excited to get together with them again at Delta Bingo in Pickering, Ontario, which had recently reopened following the COVID-19 shutdown. Unfortunately, things didn't go quite as she'd planned. When she got inside the door, management asked her to leave if she didn't cover up the hole in her neck. She explained that this was impossible because that's how she breathes. Her son reported that she just left because she was embarrassed and didn't want to cause a scene. Now, Elaine started crying in the parking lot, and the manager, who felt bad, went out to invite her in, but she refused. Her son, Gilbert, said his mom went home and did some research on the rules regarding mandatory masks and felt like she was treated wrongly. She decided to go back to the bingo hall the following Saturday to try and enter again, but this time she didn't even make it past the front door. They told her that she couldn't go in unless she covered the hole in her neck. Gilbert said her mom went home in tears and feels strongly that she's being discriminated against. He said, quote, "What they did was wrong. The hole can't be covered because that's how she breathes. She doesn't breathe through her mouth or nose. If you cover it, you may as well take away someone's life support." Delta Bingo's CEO, Cam Johnston, said that he will take a hard look at the case, but said people who can't wear masks shouldn't be visiting their establishment at this time. Johnston said he empathizes with Arbo, but said safety has to be his number one priority at this time. So, okay. I think on this case, I do have to be on the side of the bingo parlor. Because if I can breathe through my nose and mouth with a mask on, her hole can surely do it as well. Or why can't she just wear like a turtleneck and kind of, slip it down at opportune times if she needs to take a breath or something? There has to be a solution for her. 12-year-old boy suspended for not bringing a toy gun to school. 7th grade student Isaiah was attending an online art class at his Colorado Springs school. The teacher saw Isaiah pass a toy gun across his computer screen. And to be clear, this toy was green and black with an orange tip that said "zombie killer" on the side of it. So this teacher, and I use the term loosely, contacted the principal, who then suspended Isaiah and contacted the sheriff's department to conduct a welfare check on him without even calling his parents first. Both parents were frightened and furious at the school's decision not to notify them before sending out the deputies. Isaiah's mom said, quote, "For them to go as extreme as suspending him for 5 days, sending the police out, and having the police threaten to press charges against him because they want to compare the virtual environment to an actual in-school environment is insane." The sheriff's report confirms the teacher said that she assumed it was a toy gun but was not certain. I don't know. What gave it away, lady? The orange tip? The green? The zombie killer? Or the fact that it was plastic? And to be clear, Isaiah never made any threats, nor did he point the gun at the screen. All he did was pass the gun from one hand to the other in front of him just to get it out of his way so he could work. Now, it's clear to me that the teacher and the district are way out of line on this one. It was a toy, and it was at home, and it was not at school. I mean, really? A suspension and calling the police when a parent phone call would have taken care of everything? I mean, what's this world coming to? Man decapitates mother and puts head in the freezer. 47-year-old Philip Tarver stabbed his 86-year-old mother Angela with an ornamental sword, cut off her head, and placed it in the freezer. He also used a knife to amputate her left ring finger, which was found in a kettle. At the opening of the trial in Surrey, England, it was revealed that the attack took place around noon in the kitchen of the home that he shared with his parents. In her presentation, the prosecutor stated, quote, "The defendant stabbed his mother in the chest with an ornamental sword, killing her. Brandishing that sword in the dining room of the property, he then argued with and threatened to kill his father. After a struggle, his 83-year-old father left the house with the sword and called police. It appears that while the father was outside and the police were making their way to the address, Tarver decapitated his mother with a knife. He placed her head into the freezer in the kitchen, and then he amputated her left ring finger, which he placed into a kettle. Mr. Tarver then began a cleanup operation, washing himself and the knife he used to decapitate his mother. Tarver surrendered when police arrived. When he arrived at the police station, he said that he was sorry for killing her and that he must repent his sins. After a stay in a mental health hospital, Tarver now denies murdering his mother and threatening to kill his father. I can understand his change of heart now that he's standing trial. I mean, he needs to do everything he can to get ahead. And finally today, Iceland supermarket closed after human feces found in the freezer. An Icelandic supermarket in Scotland has been forced to close after a mother of four claims to have discovered human poop in the store's freezer. Customer Lynn McCabe was horrified when her hand was smeared with poop after trying to search for chicken nuggets in the Saltcote, Scotland store. She realized there was human feces on the packaging when she accidentally touched her nose after handling it. She said, and just imagine this with that accent, "The smell was awful. I must have touched my nose after I put the nuggets in the basket. At first, I didn't know where it came from, but I realized I was disgusted and just glad my little girl hadn't touched it first." Lynn quickly told staff what had happened, and they laughed at first and then let her use the staff bathroom to get cleaned up. The store staff apologized and offered McCabe a box of Lindor chocolate balls as an apology. She responded, quote, "I mean, come on. I'm covered in poo, and they're giving me chocolate balls to say sorry?" The staff blamed an elderly woman who was in the store earlier in the day for the mess. The woman was sick and had asked to use the toilet. Lynn told the Daily Record, "They said she made a good mess and they needed to clean it up. I was a little shocked that they didn't close the store. Surely, if they knew there had been an accident, they would have checked and cleaned the place thoroughly. Who knows what kind of germs this person had?" So after leaving the store, she contacted customer service in Iceland to complain. A spokesman for the chain said, "After being made aware of the incident, we immediately planned to close our store for a thorough cleaning. This is now complete and our store is open normally." So this story actually brings a couple of things to mind. So first, and I'm out here in California, I've seen Asian grocery stores, Mexican markets, and Indian stores, things like that, but I've never seen an Icelandic specialty store. Is this a thing in Scotland? Because I don't know. And what do they sell there aside from poo nuggets? And secondly, so this sick lady asked to use the bathroom, right? Well, how did you get poop on the package of nuggets which are in the display case? I'm kind of hesitant to ask and learn how that might have happened. So I think I'm going to avoid Iceland stores in general, just based on general principle. All right, well, that's going to do it for this episode of News with Bill. Please be sure to subscribe to the show and give us a rating wherever you listen to your podcasts. I'd love to hear your feedback or ideas, so please let me know what you think. You can comment on this episode at newswithbill.com. I'm at newswithbill on Twitter and Instagram. Or you can send an email to feedback@newswithbill.com. Finally, you can call and leave a voicemail on the News with Bill hotline at 209-854-4620. Don't forget to tell a friend about the show, too. Thanks for listening. I'll catch you next time.